everybody, and welcome to part 8 of my C++ beginner tutorial. Today we're going to be covering switch statements and how to use them. The reason we're jumping from if statements to switch statements is because they are very similar in several ways. Now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of create this same program except with switch statements. So I'm going to erase all these if statements here. And to create a switch statement, it just compares a value, whether it's true. So we write switch, and then in these parentheses is going to be our what we're going to be comparing. So we're going to write test score. It's going to need opening and closing braces, just like any other function. And then we're going to type case, and then we're going to just compare it. So we'll say case 100, and this is where we're going to put a colon, not a semicolon, but a colon, and then this is the case. So if test score is 100, now here's where it gets a little interesting. You see here it says error, expression must have an integral or enum type. So it actually, test score needs to be an integer. So that means that we're not going to be able to use parentheses or decimal points for this, unfortunately, but it can, I'll show you more on that later, but it can use more than that, like a character type, because character is like an enum. It's essentially just saving it in an integer and then converting it to a character. So we're going to see out, and we're going to say, wow, 100%. Okay, and then we will do end line, close it off. Now we could begin by I did the wrong, need a semicolon there, not a comma, not an apostrophe. Now when you're using switch statements, you have to type break, and what break does is it checks whether it just closes that case. So I'll kind of explain that better in just a second. So we're going to say case 80, see out, and we'll say at least you still passed. And then we'll say end line. Okay. And then we'll break that again. Now what this does is break. It's kind of like an else if. So if this is true, it actually breaks the switch. So it'll jump to this line of code here and then go into system pause or whatever else, what other code is there, because it doesn't need to check these anymore. We already know case is equal to 100. It also can't be equal to 80. So there's no need for the computer to run through this code. So it saves time. If I were to leave out the break, it would check whether it's 100. If it is, it'll print out that, and then it'll check whether it's 80, and obviously it won't be 80 as well. So it won't print out this. It'll just keep going down the line. So that's kind of the way cases work with switch statements. I mean, it's really simple. If I were to run this program, it says enter your test score. If I type 100%, then it says, wow, 100%. Okay, so press any key to continue. Let's run that again quickly here. And then we'll say 80%. Okay, so it says at least you still passed. Now, unlike if-else statements, you don't have an else at the end, so you can't just say if none of these are true, then do this. So it's a little more limited, and we'll get into the actual uses of switch statements in the future. If I were to type 50, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to say press any key to continue. So that was switch statements, guys. I know a really simple, short tutorial. Next episode, we're going to be covering loops, starting with the for loop. There's several different types of loops, and each one's going to have its own video because they can take a while to talk about, and we're not going to be covering every single possible loop because we don't know some of the stuff we need to cover them all. So I'm going to cover the 3 most basic loops, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I'll hope to see you around.